Hello, 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 everyone. I am Rosalind Brown of Your Wealth Guidance, where we help Black women create their financial independence map and identify the tools for success so you can live life on your own terms. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for another great Money Monday. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you do not miss any future speakers. And today we have a great one. I know so many people are saying, either I need a break, I want a break, or I am retiring somewhere outside of the United States. If you're joining us from somewhere outside of the United States, maybe you want to go somewhere outside of the country that you're in. But today we have Nubia Younge. She is the CEO and founder of Black in Travel, a community for melanated travelers. Hey, that's us. We She has lived on 4 continents and explored over 44 countries, facilitating intercultural collaborations and documenting her love for food and adventure. Nubia Young believes in bringing people together and building communities across the globe. She is on a mission to inspire Gen X professionals to embody the power of manifestation. She is passionate about helping women create their own realities to do what they love unapologetically. So, thank
Absolutely.
you for being with us today. And I know
Thank
you
you for
started
having
your
me.
journey, and you were just like, all right, I'm gonna pick up, I'm gonna go.
And it was literally just like that. It was like I think everybody at some point gets to what they call that breaking point where you're just like enough, like enough. And I got to that breaking point and I just got off on a journey abroad and haven't looked back since. It's almost 6 years.
Oh
Oh,
my
oh my
goodness.
gosh.
Now, what
And
was
I
your
had no
breaking point?
idea.
Because what made you say, okay, not today? Like, I'm sure you had some days like, if they do that one more time, it's gonna be today.
Yeah.
But what
No,
was
I never had the thought. It was more like I wanted to just travel more. My breaking point was being laid off. I was 30, I was turning 38, or I was about 38, and I was on a holiday to Portugal. So we were on vacation and I came back to the office at the top of the year and they tell me that they're restructuring the office and my department is being dissolved. And so I was being like, oh, they gave me this great package and blah, blah, blah. I was livid. I was mortified. I was sad. I was disappointed. I was just like, who goes on a 10-day holiday vacation and come back and get laid off? I could have stayed home and saved that money. You know what I mean? And I just felt like I was tired of my worth being tied to my salary and my title. And I said, I'm not going to do this anymore because they know here I was a single mom. My daughter was about to go off to college. So just having money prepared for her to go to school. My son was in high school. And I'm just like, corporate America don't give, they don't care. And I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I don't have it in me. Um, and that was my breaking point. I mean, it was at a point where most people would try to work harder, like find a job. I knew I didn't want to go back through that vicious cycle, that hamster wheel of applying. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Indeed, I'm on, all these platforms and doing all these interviews. I just didn't want to do it anymore.
Now, you've gone from a couple of different continents. So we said the 4 continents. What made you choose one over another, or how did you know it was time to say, all right, this was fun, let's hop to another one?
I chose Southeast Asia because I had never been there, A, and B, I heard it was extremely inexpensive, which it was. I had never touched foot in Asia a day in my life, and I bought a one-way ticket. And not even just a one-way ticket, girl. I bought a one-way first-class
Oh,
ticket.
yes.
First class. I was out. I said, you know what? I'm going to go big. I'm going to go hard. I'm going to go, and do me. And I left the United States with the feeling like I'm open. I'm open to anything happening, good, bad, or indifferent. I just needed to do it for myself. And I went to Asia, and living in Asia was amazing. I lived there for almost 2 years, about 2 years, and I had a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath house in a gated community with a pool, gym, and everything for $550 a month.
What?
Unemployed.
Crazy.
This is what I'm saying. Like we struggle in the United States to survive. Like we're working just to live. You know what I'm saying? Here I was thriving and not trying to survive. I was thriving. And it's a big difference because when I hear people say they would love to do that, but they're talking about money, I'm like, do you understand sometimes you cut your cost in half, if not by, like 65% just to leave the States. The money that you currently make, especially if you're working from home, can solidify a life in another country for more than a year, without you possibly even having to work if you had a good savings.
See, now that's a thing in terms of, okay, so out of all the places we already know, okay, as Southeast Asia, out of all
Mm-hmm.
the places that you've gone, what are some of those kind of top destinations in terms of finding cheap living arrangements?
So I don't like to use the word cheap because I feel like it diminishes the value of something, right? So I say inexpensive. I currently live in Mexico, and I've been in Mexico 3 years now. And I'll be honest with you, the influx of tourism, partly because of what I do as well, from the United States and Canada, has increased the pricing dramatically in the last year. So something like Mexico, I always say, is a pretty good place for people to start, especially if they're living in North America and the United States, because it's still North America. It's close enough where you can take, a flight 3 hours, maybe at the most 6 hours if you're in the upper West Coast or in Midwest somewhere. And you get 6 months on your passport. So you can come for a short term stay, a month, 2 months, 3 months, even the full 6 months, and you don't have to worry about the visa requirements where I'm a resident. So I get my visa renewed so that I'm here for the amount of time for a longer stint.
Now, what made you choose Tulum? So that's where you are. That is like the Black Mecca, like all the Black folks there now. What made you say, okay, this is the place I want to settle, especially since you've been there for the last 3 years?
I've never actually, all the places that I've chosen, I've never decided to live in. It's always like they choose me. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I was in Playa del Carmen here seeing friends actually who lived here. There was a smaller expat community of Black professional men and women at the time when I got here. And I came to visit them and I was like, yeah, Playa del Carmen's cool, but it's like just a regular beachy. So I was like, I heard of this place called Tulum. I want to go check it out. And I went down there and it was just like, yeah, this is more my vibe. It was super quaint, cute, beautifully lush. It was everything that you would think like a small off the grid kind of place would look like, right? That has since changed in the last 2 years. It has grown exponentially. It has a huge amount of tourism coming in. Other than that, I chose it or it chose me. I went and you have to go what feels good to you, right? You have to go what feels good to you. I'm
Now,
sorry, I don't know if you heard that chime.
um,
I had a notification. I'm like,
and so Brown Sugar Babe, she says she hasn't seen you since Chronicles Abroad podcast. She says that was her favorite podcast, and so great to see you. She said she's still beautiful, so we loved
thank
it.
you. Frances and I are really considering bringing Chronicles Abroad back. Frances is over in Dominican Republic doing plant-based medicine retreats, and I'm over in Mexico busy with Black in Tulum. So we just haven't had the time, but we definitely have discussed it. So it might be back.
And that's something good to bring up. So, Black in Tulum, obviously, you're in Tulum. Tell us about how that came to fruition and kind of what exactly it means or what it does.
I did not start this as a business. I literally was in Tulum. Anybody who has met me or know me knows I'm extremely uber like friendly. I'm like, hey sis, how you doing? So I'm walking the streets of Tulum or riding my bike at the time, and I see sporadic amounts of Black people, and I'll be like, hey, what's up, sis? Like, what's up, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I was
how
good to
long
see
you been
Black
back?
people abroad. You like, where you from?
Where you from, right? So I'm striking these conversations, and I finally got to a point where I was like, maybe we should all get together. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me take the initiative and just put like a brunch together, a real small one. What people don't know is my first brunch was all of 8 people, and it was two friends of mine that was in town, and then I met another girl at like a coffee shop, and she had 2 or 3 friends with her. So I was just like, hey, let's all meet up and have some, brunch. That was my very first, but I never counted that one. It wasn't until I had another one that was like 23 people, and that was where Black in Tulum started. And I had this brunch on the beaches, the white sandy beaches of Tulum, at this wonderful beach club called Kai. And it wasn't until I noticed that there were people coming from Cancun, Merida, different parts of Quintana Roo and the Yucatan in Mexico, just to come have brunch with other Black folks. Remind you, this was in the midst of the pandemic. So here we are after 3-4 months of lockdown. People were ready to reconnect. They were ready to get outside. They were ready to, just breathe fresh air again and connect with good people, and have some good food. So once I noticed, I was like, wow, this is super dope. And people were really enjoying themselves. I literally said that day, I said, hey, let's create, I'm going to create a group on Facebook so this way we can all stay in touch, because a lot of those people were visitors. And I was like, let's stay in touch. So if we do this again, or if we want to do an excursion, we can all kind of link up, or, 2 out of the 25 can link up, whatever. And I looked around the room and I was like, we're Blacks in Tulum. And that's how it started. It literally started with 20, 23, 25 people, Facebook group. And now we have over almost 30,000 in 2 years.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, and it's so much of an organic experience. And I know you talk about the value of Black in Tulum creating that sense of community, and especially as people are moving. If we are, I'm a Southern girl, so I'm always like, hey, where you from? Do I know your people? That kind of thing. And so creating that community abroad, how important is that, especially as you've moved from place to place and you've settled in different places? How important is that, and how do people kind of create that wherever they are?
So, it's one of the most important things. Even as a business owner, networking is one of the most important things I could ever do. And I tell people all the time, relationship building, you have to build your relationships. The one thing I do adore about the metaverse or Facebook, whatever you want to call it, or just social media in general, is that you can build those relationships without physically being there, and there are tons of groups. Since I've started Black in Tulum, there are so many Black in groups, like Black in Portugal, Black in Bali. When I first set foot in Thailand, I didn't know that there was a whole group of Black folks called the Black Packers. Like, there's groups everywhere. So if there's a destination that you're really curious about, if you type that destination in Facebook, you're bound 9 times out of 10 to find people who have a group, whether it's a small one or a large one. There's groups for LGBT Black travelers. There's groups for women-only travelers. There's groups for off-the-grid travelers. I mean, anything you can think of. I think that's where you start. You find, like-minded people, and then you start inserting yourself. First, observe, read the room, observe the group. Is this right for you? Are they really talking about the things that you enjoy, or are they just, marketing themselves? You know what I mean? Like, the one thing I love about Black in Tulum, I don't have to touch that Facebook group. They are on it. They call each other cousins. Hey, cousin, what's up? I'm coming into town. I'll be there, August 12th through 16th. Who's going to be in town? I'm a solo traveler. And then next thing you know, the comments are like, I'm a solo traveler too. I'll be there. Let's meet up. Let's go to lunch. Let's make reservations. Let's do this. And then they build these relationships that before they even touch ground. I love it. Sometimes I go and I peep, I'm like, I love this. They do reviews, they'll post pictures and videos of their stay, and they'll tell you where they went. I've seen people drop whole itineraries, and they build their itineraries through the group as well. So it's free. It's a free resource. There are a ton of people who decided to move to Tulum and literally promote their business through the group, private chefs. And they make a killing, doing excursions and different stuff because the group is so massive. And I mean, it's been a beautiful thing. So building community, fostering community, and building connections are the best things you could ever do.
Now, you actually help people. So if someone's like, all right, I think I want to take a break, or, right now people are dealing with layoffs and somebody is out there like, do I look for a job or do I take a break? Do I make this pivot that I've been thinking about? Now, what are some of the steps, especially if they're looking to say, maybe I should call Nubia and see if she can help me? Or maybe I should, do I take a couple visits 1st? Or what type of research do you do before you kind of jump out there and say, maybe I'm gonna do this?
Well, I started a program called Novice to Nomad, and I put it on hiatus for right now because Black in Tulum is a lot of work. But I will be relaunching it as a group program instead of a one-on-one program. But I will give you a couple of steps. I think the first, if you can take an exploratory trip, is important. Even if you're going to get a full week to 10 days just to go to a location, I'm really about centering yourself. All day long, you could be like, yeah, I want to move to this place because it's beautiful with this. But once you get there, you could be like, yeah, nah, it's not what I anticipated or expected. So I really want people to put boots on ground if possible. If not, one thing I really do say is write down your list of non-negotiables. What do you want? Do you want to live by the beach and have, just envision yourself in the life that you want to live, right? Like, forget money, forget whatever, but be reasonable, make sense, and let that be your premise. I'm not really a beach person, to be honest with you. I love the mountains, and Mexico on the coastal side has been really difficult for me because I love water, but it doesn't have to be ocean water. You know what I mean? I love waterfalls and the mountains and stuff. So I'm forever taking trips out of here just to get to places that feed my soul,
And I think that's a really good point you make is you have moved, but just like when you were in the States, you still travel. And so definitely to kind of keep that open mind in terms of you may change your kind of home base, but you could still get out and see the world from there. So even not being tied.
Absolutely, but I'm a nomad by heart. I'm a Sagittarius too. So Sagittarians are known to wanderers, I guess you would call it. And this has been the longest I've been put and stayed still in the longest time. I've been gone for 6 years, and I've been spent 3 years out of my 6 here in Mexico. So I have a home, I have a business, I have roots, and even with the roots, I'm still like, okay, what's next? I'm not gonna lie, just about an hour ago, I booked a month stay in Guatemala. I'm out. I gotta go.
Guatemala.
I adore Guatemala. Yes. I've been there 3 times. This will be my 4th time. So instead of going for a weekend or going for a week, I said, you know what, I'm gonna go down for a month, And so I just booked a month stay and I'm out. The thing about it is sky's the limit. It doesn't have to look a certain way. If you work online and if you work remotely and, you don't have to move in order to change, right? You can just change the environment or the location if you choose, even if it's for a few weeks or a few months. The problem is, I think that people see people like myself and feel like they have to do it that way. And that's not true. You do it your way. You do it what makes comfortable and makes sense for you. I hear people talk, I have elderly parents, I have kids, I have this, I have that. And I'm like, great, we have so why not take a month each year and live in another country? Or why not take 3 months if you get the time? Do that. If that makes sense for you, then do that. So many people sublet, so many people Airbnb, so many people, you don't have to give up your space. You don't have to give up the things that are familiar to you. You don't have to leave family behind. You don't have to do all those things. You can actually make it work for you.
And that's a really good point to make in terms of what people are doing to make it work for them. So I
Yeah,
know a lot of people, if you're looking at some of the videos of people like, I sold everything in a weekend and then I
that was
was
me.
gone.
I'm guilty of that.
And then there's somebody else like, hold on, wait, I don't know. I'm not sold. And so,
Yeah.
what are some of the ways, especially when you were coaching people to say, okay, do we sell everything and just, the clothes on our back in a suitcase? Or, you mentioned like sublet and Airbnb. What are some of the other ways if people are like, I don't know if I'm put 2 feet, I'm just going to stick my toe in and see if this makes sense for me?
I call it clearing the emotional clutter, the emotional and the physical clutter. I think you have to sit with yourself and really, truly listen to your intuitive nature, right? It's like sometimes if you look around, first of all, let's start with the physical clutter. If you got that outfit that you still trying to zip it up, and I'm guilty of it now, you know what I'm saying? And I'm kind of going back to that old cycle. I'm like, Nubia, get out of that, because I lived for about 3 or 4 years with a suitcase. I had the same 8, 9, 10 outfits, and would buy little things here and there. Now, with having a house and everything, I filled it back up with stuff, and I realized how stuff boggles you down, right? So my thing is clear the physical clutter room by room. Have I used this? Do I really need this? Can I sell it and put that money aside? Can I donate it and give it away? Like, do I really need this? Start there. Then start really listening to your intuitive nature. How do I feel? You know what I mean? Do I feel anxious when I gotta go to this place or go to work or do whatever? I'm seeing and hearing so many people dealing with anxiety around even getting up in the morning and going to work. You know, it's one of those things where you have to listen to your body as well. What's going to work for me? Like, clearing all that, and you can't do that when you're in the midst of noise outside people. Don't be asking nobody. Don't, just sit down with yourself and write it down. You know what I'm saying? If it doesn't, if you're reading it and you're like, yeah, that feels good, then that's what you should do. If you're sitting there and being like, I don't know, then maybe you're not ready. But I definitely feel like you got to start clearing clutter first.
Now, in terms of things that people don't consider, I think that's like the first thing. People are like, okay, I got to find a place, got to figure out how much money I have, and pack all my life in one bag. What are things that people don't consider in this transition?
They don't consider the I would say everything that I've ever done has been a journey, right? It's an adventure. I don't go into things with preconceived notions or expectations. Like I said, I went and I left and I told the universe or God, however you want to call it, I'm open. Be open. You just never know what may transpire. If you're so rigid with your calendar, your schedule, you have no flexibility there. So I'll give you an example. I literally was at a conference this past weekend. And I don't want to name the company because I don't want to go too far, whatever, but there was a company there, and I literally asked, I was going to book another hotel stay at a different, hotel. Because I just wanted to change environments. And I just asked them, because they're a travel business. I said, do you have like a discount or something for a hotel stay here in Vegas? And one of the execs said, I got one better. Here's a voucher for 500. You can use it for whatever you want. Just go on the website, put in the coupon code. Had I been so rigid and just booked the stay prior to just asking or talking to somebody, I went to the airport, what was it, yesterday, and the flight was oversold, and they wanted to give $300 like travel credit. I know my worth. I walked up and was like, when you're ready to up that ticket, that ticket price, let me know. They was like, well, how much do you want? I said, nothing less than $750. They was like, we'll give you $1,000. I said, okay, bet. And I took the flight 2 hours later. Like, now I got $1,000 travel credit. Like, you just never know what will happen if you don't just allow yourself to move and flow. Don't be so rigid. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know what opportunities will come your way. And you never know, like, the changes that might happen. You know what I'm saying? And if you're open and you allow yourself and you say hello, you tell people what you need and what you want, it could happen. Now you're like, oh shoot. Okay, so I guess I don't have to stay here for the whole entire month. I'm actually going to take a week and I'm going to go here because there's an opportunity, and then I'll come back. You just never know.
And I love that in terms of kind of being open. And I know, you talk about you can float, and there are certain personalities that are like, wait,
Yeah, there
I
are.
definitely have like my travel girlfriends, and they got like the whole itinerary to the minute. Like, wait, I don't know if I'm gonna do all that. And so, if you were on that side, how do you get to a point where you're comfortable to say, okay, I'm gonna let go a little bit. I'm gonna try some different things a little bit.
I think it goes back to clearing the clutter and really focusing on what feels good to you. You know what I mean? Like I can't speak on that because that's definitely not my personality. But I think that what happens when you have somebody that really has to sit in their planning power, let them. You know what I mean? And as they go along their itinerary, at some point it may not work out the best way, right? Now they got to focus on how to deal with the anxiety of things not working out the best way. So it's funny because you learn so much more about yourself when you insert yourself into an environment that you're not familiar with, because you have no choice but to actually adapt. You know what I'm saying? When we're on the same trajectory, same like monotony, it's almost like you have control over that. As soon as the moment something, shifts and it doesn't work out, you're like, you know what I mean?
Wait a minute.
But exactly. But when you decide to take that trip to that other country or check out a new area, whatever the case may be, you are now surrendering for the most part to whatever experience happens. And you have to be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? You walk into a place, you might be like, I don't know if I want to eat here. It seems really just janky or just whatever. But that could be the best mom and pop shop that you've ever been in, and you could make literally a family out of this. Like I've been in places that they're just like, Nubia, come on, and it's somebody's living room. It's like, it's weird, but you can't be so rigid, because if you allow yourself to not do that, then what are you really truly experiencing?
Now, I think that's a really good point, because people are like, okay, I may not have enough saved, or my job is not remote. Or they're like, maybe I just want to quit my full time job and start a business somewhere else. What are some of
Mm-hmm.
the things to think about when you have a business abroad?
Wow. Well, I mean, it's really difficult to answer that question. I'm going to have to answer it in a much general sense, right? So you really got to go off the laws of that country. Number one, are you registering the country? Are you registering the business in that country? And if so, now you're subjected to their tax laws and their situations. It could be a huge tax break for you in America, right? Now, if you're going to register your business in America and conduct business in that country, are you able to conduct business in that country as a nomad, or do you have to be a resident? Do you have to have certain paperwork and documentation? Those kind of things. So you really want to think about those things before you just come into a country ready to open and start brands and businesses and all those kind of things. Because that's how colonialism started, right?
Just
I
show
mean,
up.
let's be honest. Just sum it up. That's how it started. And some countries don't play that. So when I lived in Thailand, one of the things that I love about Thailand is that they have their independence. Yes, as an American, you can own a home or business, but you have to go through Thai people. Like you have to have a Thai lawyer. You have to have a Thai business partner if you're going to open a business. And they need to actually own 51% of the
Wow.
business, because they don't want you to have the majority.
That's
It's
big.
smart. It's smart business, you know what I'm saying? But you also want to make sure you have an ironclad contractual agreements with, the other owner, so that they don't take it from you. Of course, you want to be vigilant. So it depends on the kind of business. Are you doing services? Are you doing products? Are you doing, because if you're doing product, now you got to really focus on import export. Can you import export those products into that country? Is it going to cost you more to do that than it would to ship it? It's so many different variations and aspects, but I would first and foremost talk about taxation. Second of all, I would talk about the type of business. Are you doing services or products? And what makes sense, and what are the laws around that?
Are there some countries that are probably more business or American business friendly than others? I mean, definitely if you're in Thailand and you're like, okay, I got to find a lawyer that I can trust. I got to find a business partner that I can trust. So that might be harder for some people, especially as they're just getting started. But are there other countries that might be easier?
I mean, I think Mexico is pretty fairly simple because it is North America. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think that's very easy. I'm sure there's certain countries in Asia that might have a little bit more. Again, it also depends on the type of business, right? So depending on the type of business you are going into, it would depend on what makes sense for you. So I can't really speak on a broad sense, but what I can say is that if you look at your industry, you can do the market research to know what makes sense for your industry. You get what I'm saying? So there are sometimes people like, yeah, I want to come down here and do it. And I'm like, does that make sense? Like, is it going to be profitable? Let's talk about this. Because if you're making pesos, but you're really trying to still pay bills in the States, might not be the best type of businesses. Like, you know what I mean? Think about your business, do the market research, and from there you'll know what makes sense for you. Travel industry is huge, but right now we have a ton of ebbs and flows. People reach out to me all the time wanting to book stuff for this time next year, and I'm like, wait, I don't know what the travel trends are going to look like this time next year. I go month to month, maybe 2 months, but I can't go and project so far in advance because travel is unstable.
Especially over the last 2 years, definitely.
I have to know, I know my industry. So I have to pivot around what makes sense for me and my business. And that's the same what somebody would have to do for theirs.
Now, you mentioned travel and that being a part of your business. Tell us, what do you do in that travel space?
Okay, so Black in Tulum, currently what I do is I curate experiences for melanated travelers in Tulum, Mexico, and outside of that as well. However, the most exciting news is that I'll be launching Black in Travel soon, which opens up so many more doors for me to expand in other countries. I have been in talks with Black Heather at Black in Portugal. I've been in talks with Mike Henderson over at Black and Gay Travel. I've been in talks with Maurice about Black Travel Expo, like just collaborating with other businesses around the world to be able to give and offer more to our members. So I'm so excited about being able to not necessarily feel like I'm pigeonholed to Mexico and Mexico alone. So everything that I do, I will be taking abroad to other places. And getting back to that love of travel and getting outside and taking smaller groups and showing them and having these exploratory trips and things like that. So that's coming soon. I'm so excited.
Love it. So now, if we're trying to follow that and we're like, okay, she launching soon, she didn't give us a day, where do we go and make sure we know when soon actually is?
Well, you definitely want to go to blackintulum.com, and you can actually sign up for our newsletter. And we send out a monthly newsletter to let people know kind of what's going on with us. We highlight different businesses or people that we collaborate with. We let you know what's up and coming. We're collaborating with DJ Honey out of DC and Philly. They're coming down for New Year's Playa Noir. So we're gonna do New Year's up big. I got a couple of other things going on where I'm actually speaking at a expo called the Wealth and Wellness Experience. And this is run by Ebony Lucas. She is a real estate attorney. And we're going to have performances by Chrisette Michelle. We're going to have a ton of speakers on everything wealth and wellness and, building generational wealth, creating businesses, real estate abroad, moving abroad, everything. So that's coming up in October in Tulum. And I will be a speaker, and I'm so excited about having people just come. I just love having you guys come to Tulum and showing you, you know what I mean? We're going to actually collaborate with Black in Tulum and do a night out. And I'm just like, this has been a beautiful ride.
Now, you mentioned collaborations a few times. And so it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this event, and our heads are spinning in terms of all these great collaborations. How do you find the perfect collaborator to say, okay, I have an idea, it could be great, or have an idea in another country, and maybe you've only been there once. And so you only know one or two people, or maybe you only went and you did solo and you kind of had a me moment. How do you
Yeah.
find some of these great people to collaborate with?
You know, what's for you will never pass you by. So sometimes they come to you. Most times they come to me because my head is like deep into what I'm currently in. And what happens is, I have people schedule a meeting with me, and if it's in alignment, we'll work together. If it's not in alignment at that moment, it will circle back when it's time. And if it's not in alignment at all, I'll tell you, thank you, but that's not really where I'm going right now with this. A lot of times people, I told you I was at a conference in Las Vegas. I go to conferences to network and meet people. You never know what opportunities are there. I know what I want for my brand and business to grow. So I know the kind of people I need to be around in the rooms I need to be in. So not purposely, but I intentionally make myself go and be in those rooms. And I've been blessed to have girlfriends who are just like, hey, this is coming up and you need to be there. Let's roll. You know what I mean? So when you set intentions and you put yourself in those spaces, you're only going to meet people that are going to be nothing but supportive of you, and they're going to help build you along the way. So that's how I've been meeting a lot of these wonderful people.
I love it. And so it's so many different ways. Put yourself out there. I know people are like, I don't want to leave my house. But there's
I
still
don't. I mean,
some good networking even in a virtual world.
I was
So
gonna say there's virtual conferences all the time. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta be in those spaces, be in writers groups. If you want to be a travel influencer, there's plenty of travel blogger groups or whatever. There's groups for everything. Just put yourself in those spaces. If you're on LinkedIn, start making connections based on what you want to do. If you're in education, look for people in the education world that you want to seek out or follow or get to know. Because with you watching them, you don't even know that they may be watching you back. So at the end of the day, you never know who's watching. You don't.
and that's big because I will say, there's so many cons to COVID, but it opened up so many more opportunities to say, oh, I'm gonna do this 1 day conference in another country. I'm gonna do this 1 day or 2 day conference, but I don't have to travel. I'm sitting in my living room. And so just kind of when you look and like you said, those groups that exist out there, somebody's going to be sharing and say, hey, I'm doing this event, sign up, register here. And then so many different resources exist there. So I think that's just a really good point to make is if you're trying to do something, trying to find people who are doing it, or at least trying to find people to collaborate with your ideas to put yourself in that place where they are as well.
You have to. I mean, I want to focus more on public speaking. So I've been doing just that. I mean, I have to apply for speaking engagements. And, just in 2022, I've had four, because I put myself in the space and said, this is what I want. And then people reached out. It's like, hey, I'm doing this. Would you like to speak? And then, it's one of those things where you have to, set that tone. You have to start that walk. And if nobody's going to do it for you, you got to do it. You got to do it.
Now,
Just
we
dive
talked
in.
about Tulum like time after time after time. What are some
Mm-hmm.
of the things that if we go, we have to do, we have to see? What are some of those kind of like must do's when we pass through Tulum?
Well, of course, you got to come check out Black in Tulum if you like to have a good time, because we host about 5 to a week. Oh my gosh. So, you want to come and party with your cousins on the beaches of Tulum, come see us. But outside of that, Mexico is gorgeous. So I tell people all the time, even venture outside of Tulum, but if you come to Tulum specifically, make sure you go to some of the cenotes. Cenotes are open water holes. They're like, there's three different kinds. You have the open ones, you have the ones that are underneath the cave, and you have the ones that are like a little bit of both. But it's hard to explain, but they're gorgeous. They're creations of the earth, and they have been there for thousands and thousands of years, and you can, swim in these sinkholes. They're like sinkholes in a way, and you can swim in them. They're gorgeous. They're lush. They're beautiful. They're something you've probably never seen before. So cenotes. number one. Number two, I would say do your ATV stuff, right? The things that people love to do. Get on an ATV, not speed. I don't know how many people I've seen that just banged up at the parties, and I'm like, yeah, you turned that corner a little too fast, huh? They're like, yeah.
Get you some travel
So
insurance.
just be easy. I mean, I get it, speed racer, but you know what I'm saying. Curves are not meant for those kind of those situations. So ATVs or zip line, and then the last thing would just be come and enjoy the beach. Come and enjoy what it's known for. It's known for its beaches. It's known for its art, and just enjoy, you know, the culinary experiences in Tulum is amazing. Sometimes I treat myself. Okay, I'm like budget. I need to go eat. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I just don't want to cook and you want to have a great, you know, dining experiences. There are some wonderful restaurants in Tulum, and the atmosphere is just really beautiful. So those are three things I'd say start with.
Now that's when I look at all the pictures, I'm like, okay, they doing all the partying, they hanging out. And then, you know, I know your focus is on Gen X. Now, what about the people that are like, okay, I'm baby boomer, maybe on the higher end of Gen
Mhm.
X. Is Tulum a great destination for them as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, I've partied with three generations. Okay, we had grandma, ma, and daughter. Okay, so at the end of the day, you know, I'm 45, so I'm not a spring chicken, and I tell people all the time, I am totally respectful of people where they are. So you can go and check into an all inclusive if you want and just kind of enjoy yourself. Go to a rooftop dinner, go to, you know, Azul Leaks Museum or something. I mean, everything that the young people do, you can still do, but just do it the way you choose to do it. We have people that come for birthday celebrations, 50th, 60th birthday celebrations, and they're bringing their family. Contact Black in Tulum. We can help you put together a whole experience, get you a villa, a private chef,
Ooh.
some massages at the house. You know, I mean, it sky's the limit, people. Like, don't just look at it as a party. We are so much more than that. You know what I mean? We provide experiences, we provide unique, tailored, you know, itineraries. We help you find accommodations. There's so many different things that you can do in Tulum that isn't what you see on social media. I'll just say that.
Because I know I feel like everybody's the same pictures.
Oh, girl, they're partying. They're partying. I mean, but you know what? That's my target market, and I have to understand my business. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, yeah, I do have people who are over 50, but they're not my primary market. But definitely, I mean, I don't even party like that. I throw parties, but I don't party. You
Listen,
know,
it's about 9:30, 10 o'clock. The party need to be shut that down.
honey. When one of my events start at 9, I'm like, shoot, I
I
got an hour in me. I got an hour in me. And the next
or
thing
I'm
you
gonna
know,
need
I'm
to
there
take a
till
nap.
midnight.
Let me lay it down about 4 o'clock if I'm gonna get out at 9.
I know, and it's even harder in this Mexican heat. I'm trying to tell you, this heat will take you down quick. I don't know how people day drink in Mexico because by the time nightfall hit, I'll be knocked out. But yeah, it's pretty hot out here too.
Now I know from what I've seen, there's a ton of business owners down in Tulum. Tell us a little bit about some of the Black businesses that exist there.
There are a ton. There are a ton. I will say that a lot of them are private chefs, especially people who have cooked in the States and bring their experiences here. They bring things like, you know, soul food or, you know, African food or different things that you don't find here, right? There's no point in coming here and making Mexican food. It makes no sense. So, you know, we have Bee's fried chicken and Playa del Carmen, and she makes fried chicken and all that stuff for us here that don't see that on a regular basis. We have Rockers, it's in Playa del Carmen. They own a Caribbean restaurant. So we get West Indian food. You know, he's from Jamaica, but I would say by way of Toronto. We have Chef G. She is amazing. Her name is Glody. She was at my first ever event before Black and Tulum existed, and now she has a business called Highly Catered. It's the first of its kind. It's a cannabis infused dining experience. And I think it's amazing because you don't have to smoke marijuana or do whatever, but you can partake 420 friendly, but do it in a safe way. Chef G is your person, and she creates these beautiful experiences around the food that is infused. You have so many different, a lot of my DJs are from different areas of the world. We have photographers that come in with their craft and they help to capture your experience. We have Scrappy. He is one of the most funniest photographers, super cool guy. We have Lamar. He is by far, very professional. He takes care of his business and he takes some dope photos. I just love seeing Black men here too, because I'm like, you're safe here, bro. Like, I just love to see that, my son just recently moved to Mexico, so I love having him here. There's so many businesses, Rosalind. I can go on and on and on. The ones that host nighttime experiences and stuff, I will not drop any names because I feel like I bring a different level of hospitality to my events that they don't necessarily bring to theirs. So, I coin myself as one of the, no, none. You get none.
Like, no.
Sorry, not sorry.
Now, do you have any idea about people who are like, all right, I don't cook. I can take a couple pictures with my iPhone, but they want to come and make a living there. Is that something that's possible?
Absolutely. Almost everybody that I mentioned works with or has collaborated with Black in Tulum in any way, shape, or form. I have helped people make six figures, in their businesses. Just allowing them to expand and be able to kind of, the best thing about what I'm doing is it's almost like a marketplace, right? It's like you can find the needs that you have. I think one of the biggest things is hair. There are people all the time that's like, is there somebody that braids hair? Is there somebody that does locks? Is there somebody that does
just
makeup?
let everybody.
Think about it. I have a whole database of 29,000 people who are asking, where are these people? So it's kind of like those kind of things, those providers, like service providers, especially makeup and hair, because these women are coming and getting bomb ass videos and photos done. You know what I mean? So they want somebody to get them right. Fitness is huge, depending on what kind of fitness you're offering and stuff. I've talked to a lot of fitness instructors that want to come down and do retreats around fitness. Plant-based medicine, plant-based eating, healthier living. I can go on and on and on, but this is where you can also hire your girl as a consultant to help you out.
No, that's a good point, because Shayla says she just got back from Tulum last week. Girl, you should have called Nubia. And she's adding it to her relocation option. She said she loves it there, especially as a vegan. And so if someone is saying, you know what, maybe they're like, it's Shayla and they have it on their relocation list, but maybe they don't. So if they're saying, I don't know, maybe I do, and they want to do the exploratory trip, how do they reach you to say, all right, girl, I'm coming?
blackintulum.com and go right to the contact. Do not contact me personally. I am a CEO of the business.
Girl, I'm going to text you.
Those messages stay on red. I get them all the time. Hey, I'm coming to Tulum. What do you recommend we go eat? I'm like, what? You going to go on that page and get... Absolutely not. I will say that, and I have to be very candid and open. I don't believe Tulum to be the best place for a digital nomad. The reason why is because the Wi-Fi can be very spotty and it may not work out for you the way you need it if you are working online. Now, I lived in Tulum for quite a number of times, and there were times when I was in Zooms or, StreamYards, and all of a sudden lights go out, I'm just like, oops.
All right, that's it.
I have since moved to Playa del Carmen, which is about 40 minutes north of Tulum, and I have much better amenities, I'll say. I'm able to go to Walmart, Home Depot, all the things that are not in Tulum, I'll just say that. But the Wi-Fi is also a lot better for me as a business owner. So I just have to be honest. Tulum is beautiful. It's great. There are places that you can get decent Wi-Fi, but consistently decent Wi-Fi, probably not. It's the jungle, people. It's literally the jungle. That's exactly what it is.
Now, for the digital nomads, do you have a short list of places that could make sense? So, Playa del Carmen, are there some other countries or cities that people should say, okay, maybe, I can't do a day of Zoom meetings in Tulum, but maybe a few other places?
I adored Mexico City. That was the first city I landed in when I came to Mexico. Mexico City is amazing. There are actually a number of places that expats have like made home. Merida is one of them. It's much better for families and people who really like that low key vibe because to be honest with you, it is so hot. It's like one of the hottest like states in Mexico that I'm driving through and I'm like, nobody's window is open, nobody's shades are up because they don't want that sun coming in. Me personally, I don't want to be in the dark all day long, so I could not live there. But it could work for people who want just that low key vibe and they just go out after sundown or something like that. I love Mexico City, like I said, but Mexico City is Mexican. Like they are, educated, Mexicans. It's like Netflix is there, Colgate is there, Deloitte is there. There's so many major companies from the U.S. that have headquarters in Mexico City. But they have some beautiful museums and restaurants and shops, and they just have all of it's almost like a New York City feel, but you're in Mexico. It's great for digital nomads. Oaxaca is another one that's really big. It's a huge state. It's one of the second largest states, I believe, in Mexico. And a lot of people love Oaxaca. Oaxaca is known for a lot of they're actually known for their coffee and their cheese. And it's like a foodie, place. God, I can go on and on and on. Mexico got many, but also we have the Portugal, community. A lot of people moving over to Portugal. I lived in Colombia for a short stint. I didn't like it personally, but a lot of people love it, especially retired, I would say, cops and veterans live a lot in Colombia. It's actually less expensive than Mexico to live in Colombia. I see a lot of Black men moving to Colombia. I wonder why.
No comment.
No comment. But yeah, a lot of Black male expats live in Colombia. Asia's a little bit harder. I think if you plan on making Asia your home, if you work in education, that is the place to go, or even Middle East. Like I have friends that live in China and Dubai and Thailand and different parts of Asia, but they're teachers. So the education system takes them there. They work for private schools. They are language. They teach English like in a language center. And what happens is you're able to be sponsored by that country as an educator. So you're able to live there as a resident. You get what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the best way to get sponsorship to live in a country is if you're an educator. If you have like a teacher's license, or I don't know what teachers have in the sense, but Dubai is really big on education and they have some strict standards. But I've had friends that paid off all their debt in like less than 2 years by working abroad at places in the Middle East because that money is gang. Like that money is tight. Like they pay transportation, they pay for, accommodations, they pay for different things plus your salary, and then you don't get taxed on it.
Oh, wow.
So
and
you're
that's
just
one of those things that might be the thing to get you to retirement. Just that.
But that's my thing. They pay a stipend for your living, plus they pay for your transportation. The only thing you necessarily got to pay is your food, like expenses you choose to spend, but your salary is not. Man, listen, we struggle in the States because they keep taking and do nothing to take it. I cried. So what? It's the FICA, and why they take my money? You know what I mean? Like, it does. Why our income goes directly to taxes.
And I think that's a really good point to make. I know you broke up a couple times, but just talking about if you're looking to do something unconventional, almost as a bridge to your overall financial independence. So you
Yeah.
might say, listen, I'm about tired of this teaching stuff, but can I push through for 2 years so I can truly have some freedom? Can I push through for a year or two to actually, that might be your house hunting. So you're like, I'm gonna go over there, try it out for a year, do some work there and figure out if this is a place that I actually want to hang out. And go
Listen,
from there.
and it could be so different. Like, put yourself on a contract. I'm going to do this for 2 years. I'm going to pay off bills. I'm going to do it to make your next, you know?
I think that's a good point to make. And so somebody's out there like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't cook. I don't do this. I don't do that. Okay, this might be something that you can do. You're an English speaker. They're looking for some English speakers. You already qualify, so that might be an option. Especially,
Exactly.
just head on over there for a little while, and if you don't like it, come on back.
Exactly. And if you buy, that's another thing. That's, if you're bilingual, you can work in the hospitality industry or a resort. When I first moved home, I did hospital 24 hours. I loved it. I was like, oh, this is cute. One of the managers of this like, I was like,
Oh wait, we're losing you a little bit. Hold on, say that again. Say the part where you said you the manager.
manager asked what, and I think I told him I was like, they gave me to be able to and then forward. I was being myself every day.
So many opportunities
I'm on board.
for a whole month. Now, I know we're right up against the hour. What are some of the last kind of tips or recommendations or thoughts as people are saying, okay, I think I'm ready. I'm either going to come down there to Tulum or I'm going to hop here or hop there. What are some of the kind of last things that you want people to remember before they contact you at blackintulum.com? Oh no, did we lose Nubia? We'll make sure and put it up here again. blackintulum.com. So make sure, she did talk about that internet was spotty. So we might have missed the closing remarks. Oh wait, here she go.
Okay, exactly. Exactly what I was
I was
talking
like,
about.
that's the
Right?
spotty internet.
I told y'all it's not always peaches and cream, but I was able to come right back. I snapped back real quick. Can you repeat that, please?
So in terms of closing remarks, I know we're right at the hour mark, and somebody is saying, "Okay, I'm just about ready to leave," or "I don't want to return to the office," or maybe they're facing a layoff and they're saying, "Huh, okay, what do I need to do? What are those next steps? What are those recommendations? How do they prepare before they give you a call or reach out to you on blackintulum.com?"
I think that, I think that the conversation is the first step, because I think that could somehow ease you a little bit more, right? Because if you don't know, you don't know. So I would say make that call, like set up that appointment. Let's talk, I do coffee chat with Nubia, and I give you, I believe it's like 45 minutes, and we talk about what it is that you want to do. And in that conversation, I drop a lot of gems and go from there. So I just think have that conversation, to be honest.
Better reach out. Somebody out there. It's Shayla. She said she headed out.
Yes.
So we got a whole
Yes.
bunch of people that are like, all right, I'm 2 steps out the door. So you got that next step to get to where you're going.
So I'm gonna drop my Instagram in here. It is I am Nubia Younge, and I have a link to my calendar right there. You can choose the coffee chat with Nubia. I am always available in those time frames, and literally start that conversation. I've had many conversations with people. By the end, they feel like they have a lot more clarity around what their next step will be. And then if they're interested to join Novice to Nomad once we relaunch, you're more than welcome to join. But I really think it just starts with just having a conversation. Let's talk.
All right. And they go to Black in Tulum to get on the newsletter too?
They go to Black in Tulum to join the newsletter. And like I said, it's a monthly newsletter. There's not a whole bunch of spam or anything like that. That's not going to happen.
One a day.
I am quick to opt out of something, and that it's just not happening. But yeah, definitely. I think that, go with whatever, go with the flow. If you feel like you're ready, do it. It's just a conversation. There's nothing that's going to be ironclad. So that's what you get to create your own reality. Your life is a canvas, and you are the masterpiece. So let's get those colors out and let's start painting. Let's get it.
I love it. And as always, you reach out to Nubia and you love the experience, share it with us so we can share it with everyone else and talk about how great of an experience that you had. And if y'all going down to Tulum, let me know. I might just go up to.
Don't forget the Wealth and Wellness Expo is October 7th through the 10th. And we're going to have a ton of speakers, including myself. You can join and register today. I mean, it's going to be a great experience to have hundreds of people of color, in Tulum, going to these breakout rooms and these sessions and listening to these talks and getting some valuable information. Like, I'm excited to be a part of it. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope to see you guys there.
I love it. And I hope to see y'all here same time next Monday. We have another great speaker. I'm posting it like tomorrow because I'm gonna go to bed tonight. But I'm posting tomorrow. And so I hope to see you all. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done that. Hit the notification button so when I get around to it tomorrow, you will be notified of who our speaker is coming on next Monday. So until then, make it a fabulous night. And I can't wait to see you next Monday for another great Money Monday.
Thank you for having me. Bye, everyone.